What's up, everybody? Today we are playing, no, not playing, reacting to story build. So let's just get started, right? Or not? I don't know. I'm too sleepy actually, but let's just get started. This is so weird. I'm so weird, man.
So when I was younger, all my cousins would come over to my house and hang out with my sister and I. The parents would go to work and the kids would look after each other. #immigrant hustle. Now, one day shortly after our parents left, we were in the middle of playing video games when the house phone rang. Yeah, a house phone. It's like a cell phone, but attached to your house. Oh, God, I'm showing my age. So my older cousin answered it. Hello? Hello? No answer. Weird, but whatever. So we continued playing video games. Until the phone rang again. This time another cousin answered. Same thing. No answer. Now, at this point, we could have made up rational conclusions such as, maybe it's the wrong number, or bad connection, a telemarketer, whatever. But that's not what kids do. Instead, we concluded that someone was definitely trying to murder us and we should come up with a master plan to stop it. Come to think of it, this might have been around the holidays and we may or may not have been watching Home Alone.
What? What? That's just the dumbest thing I never thought. I got phone and I'm 12, so I don't even know what the freak to do.
But I swear to God, that doesn't have anything to do with it. So it began. We decided we were going to document whenever we would receive calls. I mean, all the details, the date, the time, everything. Now, we noticed a pattern in the calls that happened every single day. And by pattern, I mean we made this conclusion on day 2. What? Okay, listen, patterns can be 2 days. But either way, this became our new obsession. On day 3, we received more calls than usual. It was definitely a sign. So we began to brainstorm. Is it a robber? A spirit? A demon? The possibilities were endless. I mean, something just didn't feel right. Our brainstorm was interrupted by one of my cousins when they said, "Hey, did you hear that?" Now, I definitely did not, but nonetheless I replied, "Yes, oh my God, what was that?" I didn't want to be the first to die by denying the presence of the demon. I mean, maybe something was in our house. It was time to take action. We gathered all of the utensils in the drawers and headed straight to the master bedroom. The plan was simple. Lock ourselves in the room as a group and create a safe haven. Duh. I don't know why people in horror movies always split up. Is this your first day? But before locking ourselves in the room, we strategically placed 3 toys on the floor, spaced out perfectly. Hours went by with us locked in that room, pacing, stressing, sweating, and terrified of the phone ringing. But eventually our hunger got the best of us and we were in desperate need of Oreos. So we decided to slowly and carefully make our way to the...
I would rather have Oreos. I will risk it to come outside and grab the Oreos. Yeah, I don't even know why, but I will. So
kitchen. After what seems like a lifetime, we finally made it to the kitchen and let out a huge sigh of relief. We're fine, we're just acting ridiculous. Until one of my cousins says, "One of the pigs fell." We freeze. Together, we slowly look over at where we placed the line of piggies and notice that one had taken a tumble. How? Who could have possibly knocked it over, or rather, what? We freak out. Now at this point, it's survival mode. It's either us or the demon, and we decide we need to stand our ground. We open every door within the house, each holding the biggest utensil we could find, and screaming. Door, open, jab, fork, scream, repeat. Door, open, jab, fork, repeat. But we found nothing. A couple hours later, our parents came home and everyone left. Since that day, we never received a call. We never felt anything suspicious. I mean, obviously, which demon wants to mess with a bunch of kids holding some forks?
what? I will mess. I was a demon. I would literally mess with them. I don't freaking care. That's just utensils, bro. What the? That's just weird, but let's just get carried to the next one. This place. The steering.
Truly sour gummies. Weirdly awesome.
Okay.
When I was in 6th grade, I had the new teacher at school, and she was just fresh out of grad school. She was literally 22 years old. She was really nice, but she kind of just had no idea what she was doing in the classroom, and the whole year, it was just kind of like a roller coaster of up and down emotions. Sometimes she'd get so stressed out and just start crying in the middle of class and would be like, "Oh my god, I'm just like so stressed, you guys are just so awful." And of course, everyone in my class kind of picked up on the fact that she had like no idea what she was doing. So they all just made it worse for her by like thinking they could do whatever they wanted, and that just made her cry more, and everything just got so stressful, and there was just really no structure in the class. So one day we were in the classroom and we were studying ancient Greece, and suddenly I just saw her face go completely white, and she was looking at the clock. So me and all the other kids in the class just looked up at the clock too, but instead of it saying the time, it said bell. And I later found out that bell was the code word for a real lockdown, but I didn't know that yet. So my classmates and I just watched as she scrambled to lock the door, closed the blinds, and then she instructed us to hide in the corner of the room. And then she just says, "Stay quiet, we're in a lockdown." And she was in tears at this point. She was shaking and she was curled up in the corner behind her desk. This was the moment when I realized this wasn't a lockdown drill. This was an actual lockdown. And I was freaked out. I just straight up asked her, "Are we gonna die?" And she looked at me, and as gravely as possible, she said, "I don't know." And that literally just sent the whole class into tears. Some kids were even trying to jump out the window. My teacher was screaming at them that if there's someone in this building, there could be...
Why people want to jump out the window? That's supposed to be open, or they just can't knock themselves out with the window? Jesus Christ. But let's just carry on.
More people outside waiting to get you. I was just freaked out. The whole time, I was literally just thinking about dying. It's so morbid, but I was. And I was thinking about, like, what I hadn't done in my life yet, and what more I had to do, and I was basically thinking of my last seconds. And then all of a sudden, there's a knock on the door. And we all just like shot up. We thought this was the intruder. First of all, why would the intruder knock on the door? We all just stay there and we don't know what to do, even my teacher. And then there's another knock on the door, and my teacher gets up and she goes to the door. And it's another teacher. It's the teacher next door. The teacher next door asks what we're doing. And then my teacher's like, "What? Isn't there a lockdown?" The teacher next door goes, "No, they were just fixing the clock and that message came on." So then we all kind of got up from the corner. We were like, "Wait, there was no lockdown?" Then I looked into the hallway and then everything was just normal. Kids were in class, they were laughing, they were walking up and down the hall, doing their homework. There was literally no lockdown. The only class in lockdown was our class. Since that day, I've experienced a lot more lockdowns. They're really upsetting and scary, and I just wish it wasn't a reality of the world we live in.
Oh my god, we totally jumped off the cliff and had to swim all the way to shore because the knock...
Okay, shut up. I'm trying to talk, jeez. By the way, that was interesting or weird. I don't know, but it was. So let's just get started. By the way, I got my gaming shirt on. Gaming. Or reacting.
I had an older sister and a younger brother. Every time my sister or my brother did activities and I wanted to join in, I was always either too old or too young, because being a middle child can sometimes be like that. Although I love my mom very much and I knew she cared about me, just at times I felt like she loved me a lot less than the other two. My parents divorced. My mother ended up meeting a new person who didn't like me, my brother, very much. If we didn't do what he wanted, he would hit us very hard. He was like this for a few years. It got to the point where I had to actually end up calling the police on him. But the police believed him, because apparently I'm a child and I was just doing childish and making excuses. It just sucks as a child sometimes when you're not believed because of your age. When I was at school, things weren't easy either. Because of what was going on at home, I had really low self-esteem and people would bully me for being scared and by myself. For an entire year, I had no friends at school. I used to sit by a tree by myself and eat my lunch. People would point and laugh at me and call me a loner and a loser. And I didn't know how to react to that. I just sat there and cried, so I didn't feel safe anywhere. When I went home, it was hell. When I went to school, it was hell. I felt like I had nothing. Nothing whatsoever. After time, the thing with my stepdad, I saw him about to hit my brother. I stepped in the way and told him, no, you can't do that. Although this got me into even more of a situation that I couldn't get out of, and he ended up hitting me really hard that day. But I'm just glad it wasn't my brother and it was me instead. He did apologize in the end for everything that he did, but shouldn't have happened, but still, it's an apology. Throughout my life, I'd just been kind of an outcast. Nobody really liked me. But I just kept trying, and I kept trying and pushing myself to be out there and be more confident. And to a point where somebody actually ended up approaching me and started talking to me. And this was the first proper friend I ever had. He introduced me to more people, and I ended up getting more and more friends and becoming, quote-unquote, a popular kid. And people actually started to like me, and I felt so much more confident about myself and happier. Things were starting to go well in my life. Stuff at home had been starting to get better. Been getting along better with my brother and my sister. My mum had been treating me more evenly and exactly the same as the others. I felt like I was part of the family again. I just kept staying strong in the inside and I didn't let all this completely take me down. Although at times I felt so defenseless and worthless, I was able to push myself to a point where I was able to get myself out there and be myself. And where I am today is very confident.
Sorry, that was my
I'm happy with
little
myself and I'm happy with who I am.
By the way, we have this, a paper, everything. And I don't know
Oh my god, we totally jumped off the cliff and had to swim all the way ashore.
Shut up. By the way, let's get started in the next one.
There are people in our lives that make us feel safe and loved and respected. And then for some of us out there are people in our lives that are supposed to make us safe and loved and respected, but they don't do their job. My entire life I've had a wonderful father who has made so many sacrifices for me and taken care of me so that I could have a better future. Unfortunately, I can't say the same about my mother. From a young age, I was always ridiculed, teased, and taunted by my mom. And whenever I did something wrong, I wasn't properly sat down and disciplined. I was yelled at and smacked even sometimes.
That's just child abuse actually, but I don't think that's child abuse but for real, that's bad, and the worst thing it can ever happen. Are you a little kid, actually, like me? I'm a kid or I'm a teenager because I don't freaking know. By the way, did you just catch on?
Grew up with a very low self-esteem because my mom would say things like, "You're terrible, I don't like you, I don't love you at all. I think that you're a big burden to this family. What sin could I have possibly committed to have had you as a kid?" And
okay, I have that mom, bro. I just will grab my freaking Nerf gun and jaboom! Try to shoot that boy. No, a mom actually, but I don't care because I'm a bad guy. I love being bad. I will literally shoot her. But for real, that's freaking crazy for a freaking mom, bro. I have the worst mom, but not like that, bro. Jesus Christ. Like I didn't do my homework. Like, literally, she would hit me hard, bro. Like, with a car, bro.
she thought that all of these words would just brush over and that I would realize that she somehow didn't mean them. But she said them so many times that I don't think she doesn't believe them. In fact, I'm quite sure that she means everything that she says, and as a result, it has lowered my self-esteem and my self-worth, and it has made me do things like cutting and inflicting self-harm. As a young adult, even now, I suffer with this. Of course, I've stopped inflicting self-harm, but I have struggled with my self-worth so much. Whenever I look into the mirror, I can't see a girl that I love and appreciate. I can't see somebody that is strong and independent. I see someone who's weak and who's been broken and shattered by a negative influence all her life. To those of you out there who are struggling because of some negative influence in your life, whether it be your parents or an ex-best friend or an ex-boyfriend or a bully or anything, please remember that you're not alone, that you don't deserve to suffer this way, and nobody should be able to say that to you. You are wonderful, compassionate human beings, and you have so much to offer this world. Don't let this negative influence take over your life anymore.
Oh wow.
Oh my god.
That's actually the worst mom I can believe. Literally but I have the mom. I just will cry and go to my room every single day. Yes, so what you get? This is the last video I'm gonna use, so let's go in it. I don't want to see that.
When I was in grade 8, I had a best friend named Chloe. We hung out on the swings at recess, we sat together at lunch and traded sandwiches from time to time, and we always took the same bus home after school. We were like two peas in a pod, rarely separated. Well, that soon changed when Chloe got a boyfriend halfway through the year. He was a boy named Tom that was known as one of the school's biggest bullies. Everyone was extremely intimidated by him and tried to stay on his good side. Once, I had seen him throw a kid's backpack over the roof of the school for no reason. He just seemed to take pleasure in ruining people's days. So when Chloe asked me to sit with him and his friends at lunch every day, I couldn't say no. I didn't want to lose her as a friend, and I didn't want to upset him, so I pretended to support their relationship, even though I knew Tom was a bad guy. Well, one day a new girl named Jenna was introduced to our class. She looked very shy and nervous and had no one to sit with at lunch, so she sat by herself. I timidly asked Tom and his friends if I could invite her to sit with us, and they instantly started laughing, as if I had told them a hilarious joke. Tom then picked up a couple chips from his lunch and threw them over at her table where she was quietly reading a book. She looked startled but didn't try to stand up for herself. I remember feeling so bad for her in that moment, but I didn't have the courage to say anything. For the next week, Tom and his friends would bother her during lunchtime. They would roll up pieces of paper to throw in her hair and would constantly call her the weird loner girl. I was so shocked that Chloe was allowing her boyfriend to treat another human being this way, and I started feeling really embarrassed that I was sitting with these horrible bullies. Because by not standing up for Jenna, I looked like one too. So the next day I finally decided to make a change, even if I knew it would impact me negatively. So instead of sitting with Chloe and Tom, I went and sat beside Jenna. She looked really happy to finally have someone to keep her company. But right away, I noticed that Tom and his friends were giving me dirty looks and whispering to each other. And it didn't take long for them to start treating me the way they did her. Crumpled paper was thrown at me, and I was beginning to be called Weird Girl Number 2. But all I can think was, at least Jenna isn't going through this alone. I finally decided that this was enough and took Jenna with me to see the principal. We tried the best we could to tell her what was happening, but she told us that if there was no proof of bullying, she couldn't do anything. Whenever a teacher was around, Tom would act normal, and the minute she left the room, for a few minutes he would continue harassing us. It was a very difficult time, but every time Jenna would tell me how thankful she was for my friendship, it was so worth it.
So one day I heard that there was a hate page online about Jenna that was started by Tom and his friends. It had an unbelievable amount of likes and follows on it. They would take pictures of her and post them with terrible captions. They would quote things that she said and gossip about some of the things she did during the day. And as unfortunate and sick as it was finally the proof we needed to give to the principal. The police actually ended up getting involved, and Jenna was never picked on again after that. I'm very proud of myself for stepping out of my comfort zone to stand up for her, because if I didn't, I'm not sure if she would have had the confidence to do it herself. Some people need that extra push from someone else that is willing to support them. So if you ever see someone being bullied, don't just be a bystander, do something about it. Your actions could greatly change someone's life for the better.
Wow, that's actually something good, bro. I'm done, bro. But that will be all for this video. So I will see you the next video. Peace out. Good night or good morning. Are you waked up or just go to sleep? But bye, guys. Ciao and